Hello everybody, this is Mr. Alberto23, and today I'm going to be going over a brand new discovery, the Unbuffered Manual Super Swim in Wind Maker HD. This is probably the hardest trick ever found in the game, so good luck to anybody who's trying to do it. But I'm just going to be explaining what the trick is, what we expect to see from it in runs, and about how much time it saves roughly. Though my estimate's probably going to be wrong, but I'll give you a good estimate. Anyway, the manual super swim is a trick done at the very beginning of the speedrun. You'll see it in any category. It's done to skip the intro cutscene. So instead of doing all the intro on the outset, we can super swim to Dragoners to skip all of that intro and get there really, really early and get the Windmaker. Now, how do we get to Dragoners? How do we gain enough speed to get there? Because you're limited by an air gauge that makes you drown in 30 seconds, and then you respawn on the overworld. So you don't have infinite air. You need to have a lot of speed to get across the ocean. So the way we do this is by chaining together frame perfect turnarounds. So every time we turn around, we gain -3 units of speed. And so if I just pause buffer frame perfect turnarounds, I can just keep gaining speed indefinitely. As long as the pause buffers are frame perfect, I gain -3 units of speed. Now, luckily, we don't have to pause buffer the entire time. There's a really cool trick we can do. So I'm actually going to be using the hacker. This is what it looks like if we were to have turnaround every single frame. 30 frames per second. That gains speed very, very, very quickly, as you can see. This is using the hacker. I'm not actually doing this myself. And so once we get to -600 units of speed, we can then use a very interesting property of the camera called the upcharge. So if I make it so that the camera will follow Link again, I just have to hold directly up. And now you can see that I'm just holding up, and this only works after -600 units of speed, because that's the speed required to get Link to go behind the camera in one frame. And once he's gone behind the camera in one frame, he has enough speed to continually gain speed, because every frame he's going behind the camera, and then it's flipping 180 degrees. And then once we have enough speed, we get the air refill, and then we head over to Dragoners. So we go all the way to Dragoners, which is all the way across the ocean. Now, I'm going to be explaining the unbuffered manual super swim after we get to Dragoners. So I'm gonna go back to outset. Yeah, blah blah blah, all the way to Dragoners. All right, and then we watch this cutscene, right? All right. So let's go back to outset. So what is the unbuffered manual super swim? Well, it says it in the name, unbuffered. We're not pause buffering. So what's slow about this is pause buffering, because you're limited by the speed of pausing. Now, in this game, you can only pause 3 times per second. Now, that's a lot slower than the 30 times per second. So why didn't we just flick back and forth the whole time? Why weren't we doing that? Why is that not viable? Well, I'll show you what, I can go ahead and attempt it, and I'll just show you that I'm telling you I'm not going to get it. The reason is that we have to flick back and forth 30 times per second for this to work, if we're going to go directly up and down, that is. So I'm going to try to flick back and forth 30 times per second. Wish me luck. I'm not going to be able to do it. And you can see I'm just losing speed. So why am I losing speed so quickly? You saw sometimes I was losing a lot of speed. Sometimes I was losing very little. So what makes me lose speed is hitting the center of the stick. So when you're flicking back and forth, up and down, sometimes you pass through the center. Well, you always pass through the center of the stick, but if you're not going fast enough, you're not hitting 30 times per second, sometimes it's going to read the middle of the stick. And neutral is very, very bad, because every time the center of the stick is red, you lose a lot of your speed. It depends. It's actually a random amount, but it's a random fraction of Link's speed. So I'll show you an example. So here, I actually didn't lose that much. Let me do it again. So I'm going to hold nothing. That was not a good example. Let me do it one more time. There we go. So you just saw I went from around -560 to -470. I just got unlucky there, and I lost a lot of my speed from hitting neutral. So neutral is this big problem. And so, since we couldn't avoid hitting neutral, you eventually would. You'd flick back and forth, gain maybe -100 units of speed, hit neutral, back down to 40. Maybe go all the way up to 200, hit neutral, back down to 100. So basically, there was this critical point where no one could get past around -300 units of speed. That was the best anybody was ever able to do. So this version, not good, because neutral is unavoidable because you're going up and down. Now, how was Unbuffered first discovered to work? And it was first discovered on the GameCube version. Tried the same thing, didn't work on HD. However, Now it finally works. It was just really hard. That was basically the gist. It was just really hard. So the way to avoid hitting neutral and still flick back and forth is to do something called black wind. So Link can still turn around even if we're holding a little bit off center, right? Because we don't have to go exactly perfectly up and down. As long as we're going mostly up and down, it works. There's actually like a threshold to it. And as if you notice, if I'm going between up right and down right, or up left and down left, that is actually outside of the neutral dead zone, meaning if I were to not flick slowly enough, I would still never hit neutral. And so an easy way to do this that can make you so that you are still technically flipping up and down, but it's reading slightly off, what's called black wind. That's the cool name for it. But it basically involves recalibrating the stick while holding slightly off center. So I'll hold it slightly to the right. And let me see if I can do this right. You'll eventually see it. There we go. So I just reset the stick. I just reset it by holding a button combination. On the GameCube version, you can just unplug the controller and plug it back in while holding slightly off center. So now when I flick up and down, now I'm actually flicking up left, down left. And that is essentially the way to do it on Unbuffered. Now, it's actually a lot harder on this was done on GameCube. It works fine. It's really hard, but it works. Why did it take so long for this to be done in HD? The reason for that is that it's way, way harder on HD. Many GameCube runners tried it on HD, couldn't get it. The reason is that this center dead zone is way bigger, meaning it's way harder to hit neutral. Neutral is way bigger. It is still technically possible to flick back and forth and get a turnaround without hitting neutral. It's just way, way, way more precise, to the point that nobody was good enough to get it. That just recently changed. A runner by the name of Aloha Kirby was able to replicate the method done on GameCube and get it on HD. He was able to get to negative 600 units of speed without pause buffering a single time. And let me show you the video. So as you can see, it took him a bunch of takes. That's because it is very difficult. He's very good at this on GameCube, and he had a lot of trouble doing on HD. It is not an easy trick to do on HD. It takes a lot of practice. However, he was able to get it. Now he got to the magic negative 600 units of speed. You can get a little bit less than that, but it's fine. And he entered upcharge, and he got it. No pause buffers at all, as you can see. Once he enters upcharge. Give him a second. We'll get there. He's just talking a bit.
Mais je vais m'aider de l'input viewer pour mettre le stick parfaitement en haut. Et là maintenant, je dépose, on touche plus.
Give him a second. There we go. So he entered upcharge. Now he's free. So, Unbuffered manual super swim is a thing on Wind Waker HD now. It exists. It has been done. So now the question is, what can we expect from this? And so let me reset my controller one more time. Alright, so what can we expect? So first of all, I want to explain that pause buffering frame perfectly, which I have pulled off once before, it takes about a minute to do. So going to negative 600 units of speed takes about a minute, if you do the math. So, how much time does Unbuffered save? Well, nobody's able to flick back and forth 30 times per second. The best people can do on GameCube, it takes about 30 to 40 seconds. So we're saying roughly it takes about 20 seconds of pausing away, because it takes about 30 to 40 seconds. So our best estimate is 20 seconds, but there is a big catch. Because right now, you only see one manual super swim in the Wind Waker HD speedrun. We just go directly from outside to Dragoners. However, there's an alternate route that the task does that was never faster for RTA because of the fact that the pausing to gain speed was too slow. So, without further ado, let me show you the new route for the beginning of almost every single Wind Waker HD speedrun. This isn't enough speed. Alright, so we charge speed. I'm just gonna do it with the hacker because I'm not gonna pause buffer all the way there and all that stuff. And I also am not able to do this trick. Only one person has ever gotten it before. So we have to get about this amount of speed. And instead of going to Dragoners, what we're gonna do is instead we're gonna go to Bomb Island. So the Bomb Island has a submarine in it that has a very special item, the bottle. And so it's this. We could have technically done this before, but it just wasn't faster because of how long it takes to get here. And now we're stuck here and we have to do another super swim to get to Dragoners. So what we would do is we would pick up this chair and hit this enemy with it. Oops, I have hold target on. I have tap target on. All right, so now we can pick up the weapon and kill all these enemies with it. And we need to do that to spawn the chests. So now that we've killed all of these bokoblins with their own weapon, which we don't need to get we don't need a sword, luckily, or else this wouldn't work. Now we open this chest and we have the bottle. So the bottle is very special because the bottle is required to get into Dragoner's Cavern. So now that we have the bottle, the next step would be another unbuffered super swim from this submarine. You'd leave normally, it's faster than say warping back to Outset. Now we have to get to Dragoners. So how do you refill your air here? Because I was able to refill my air at Outset by going really close to the rock. Well, as you can see, if I go really close to the submarine, I can refill my air. So now it's theoretically possible to get unlimited speed because we have unlimited air from the submarine. So now the next step would be good to go to Dragoners. So let me go ahead and do that with this handy dandy tool that we would not be using in a speedrun, I promise. Need to get an air refill. There we go. All right, so once we had enough speed from this theoretical unbuffered that we did, we go to Dragoners, which I think is in this direction. No, it's in this direction. All right. And so I already watched the cutscene, but pretend we watched the Windmaker cutscene at this point, because we wouldn't have had watched the cutscene. I already watched it on the save file. We watched it before, and then I went back to Outset. So, after we get to here, we get the Windmaker. Da-na-na-na! So then we would run over here, and we would do this cool jump to get over to here, and then talk to this bird. And so now, oh, actually, I kind of forgot. We need to get the water first. Okay, let's pretend I got the water. We're gonna watch this. So I need to get water in my bottle. So the bottle, because I have the bottle early, I don't have to do any of the quest, the side quest you have to do on Dragoners. And this takes a few minutes to do. And watch a long cutscene to get the delivery bag. Well, if we have this bottle, we can basically skip this entire side quest. So we don't even have to watch this cutscene. So this cutscene gives us the delivery bag, and that's required in order to get the bottle from Medley to then water the bomb flower. So now that I have the bottle, I can get water in it. Okay. And now, okay, yeah, pretend I had remembered how to do that. Remember, I would have gotten that before triggering that cutscene. So, we've gotten water, and then now, we can do something called pause storage. So there's a cutscene on the other side of this loading zone. But with pause storage, I can actually skip this cutscene, and this requires the Pro Controller. So we'd play on Pro Controller, and we would side hop and open the option menu. And then now what I can do is trigger this cutscene to play, then switch controllers. And then now I can save quit. And where does this take us? Back to Outset. So you can see why this would be a lot slower if we were to pause buffer. Because if we were pause buffer and do all of these 3 super swims, it would take way too long. However, with Unbuffered, it's way, way faster. So now we go back to Outset, and now we do a 3rd Unbuffered super swim. You like this? I like this. So a 3rd one. If this trick wasn't hard enough, try doing it 3 times. All right. And only one person's ever gotten it, just an FYI. So then, all right, almost enough speed. All right, good. Then we go back to Dragoners again. I might drown before I reach the island. Okay, no, I didn't. All right, cool. So, back to Dragoners. All right, so then we have water in a bottle. We could have gotten water at this point as well. So, water in the bottle. So, that cutscene that I skipped. Now, when I go back, there will not be a cutscene. And I don't need the delivery bag, luckily, because I already got this bottle. So now we head in here and we head directly to Dragonair's Cavern. And now we use that handy dandy water in our bottle to water the bomb flower. And then there we go. So now we have officially skipped the entire side quest for Medley. Now, how much time does this save? By the way, this is used to bomb the boulder. Boom, bomb the boulder. So, now we are caught up with the rest of the Wind Waker HD 90% route, or all the other categories is the same. And how much time does this save? About a minute. Because the route that I just showed you used to break even. It used to be about breaking even with the Wind Waker HD 90% speedrun. It used to break even because of the fact that of the pause buffering. So when we add in 3 unbuffered super swims, now it saves about a minute because each of them saves about 20 seconds. So there you go. This will end up saving a lot of time in all the speedruns, but good luck to anybody who's trying to attempt it because this trick is seriously unbelievably difficult. So anyway, that's it for me, Mr. Alberto 23 heading off. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.